I think when I was doing my session, I was basically mostly I was doing like 8-3 stuff and then mostly like 8-9, 8-10 stuff. But I was getting really accustomed to at least being able to do my off dribble technique as well as, I mean, my jump technique wasn't great, but like my lobs are getting a lot better in terms of my placement for it to the point where when I moved it to like 9-4, I believe, it took me like 1 or 2 tries and I just freaking put it in and I got it just
Yeah.
easily from that. And it's
No, your
like
lobs are definitely looking better.
it kind of speaks to the thing where like if you're going off of a higher rim, you're gonna be throwing the lob a lot higher to even be able to get it up there. But if you're thinking so much about that and not about the accuracy of it, which you're going to develop if you low rim, then you're always gonna have an inaccurate lob if that's all you do, just basically practicing on higher rims. So if you have access to a lower rim, it is so important to have. Yeah.
Especially if you're a shorter guy, like you need to know how to lob the ball if you're a shorter guy. Like 5'9" and below, you have to learn how to lob the ball to dunk because we naturally we're gonna need a lot more effort to dunk. We're gonna have to jump higher to dunk. So unless like because if someone like 6 foot or above, they don't need as much effort to get like a quick like two like if they can jump high enough obviously to get like a little quick two hander or one hander. That's us like for them doing like a easy one hander is like us trying to like grab halfway through the net. So naturally we're gonna have to need to use more intent for that. So that's why low rimming is beneficial, and it can also add a positive feedback loop to just you making things, being able to make things, and then going for new things, and then having a higher adrenaline for that after like making new dunks, better dunks. It's just good practice overall because what all that falls under is that it's fun. It's a fun thing to do. It's a fun activity to do. So it helps a lot with
I
that.
feel like adding on to that, right? When you think about some of the best sessions that you have, right? The sessions inherently go off of the idea that you're building confidence through every jump that you're doing. So low rimming is literally can sometimes be that exact gateway to understanding where you are at in the session and just constantly improving as a result of it. When you're just
Mm-hmm.
using a higher rim, it is harder to build confidence unless you're at a point where fitness is shining beyond fatigue, which we could talk about that in a different podcast. But in terms of that general idea, when you're low rimming, you don't you don't have to necessarily jump as high, but you still need to jump decently high depending on what the rim height is. And if you can do makes on that, that's going to build more confidence, more consistency in what you're doing. And every rep that you're going to have is going to have more intent as a result of it. If you're going to let anxiety come in because you can't make a dunk because it's way too high for the rim height that you're currently practicing on, confidence is going to go down, anxiety is going to go up, performance is going to go down eventually as a result
Yeah.
of that. Or worse, your technique also, or jump technique or dunk technique or both degrade as a result of it. So it's important. That's the key
Yeah.
thing is it's important to low rim.
Yeah. And it also comes with like the expectations. Basically, when you lower the rim, you can actually allow yourself to have those higher expectations for like going for like a one hander, like a two hander, or a windmill, whatever level you're at. Because then, if on a certain day you don't know if you're gonna have a good or bad day, let's say for example, and then you go to a 10 foot rim hoping to get a few dunks in, and it's a bad day. When you have the expectations higher for that, which we can move on to the topic of like going on higher rims when you had those expectations and you don't have a good day, then that's really gonna kind of put you in more of like a defeating feeling. And those emotions can come in, and then you're gonna like may or may not beat yourself up for it, depending on who you are as a person, obviously. But having those expectations on a bad day could also destroy that. So that's why for higher rims, especially if you're a shorter guy, um, it's more of a sparing use because um, it's really it's very beneficial to do it on because I did this a lot. I would just go on the higher rims because I'm like, oh, okay, I just want to get a dunk. I just want to get a dunk. When instead, it would have probably been better to stay home, go on the low rim and actually be able to practice that. Because it's also a good thing for intent as well, because you're trying to go for a you're trying to reach a higher goal, just like with a vert trainer. If you're trying to test your vertical, your intent's going to be higher, like we talked about in the beginning with the Pearson's law. But the only problem with that is, like I said, if you're on a bad day and with the most intent possible, you can only like grab rim or something and you try to go for a dunk. It's not going to be a fun day. You're not going to make as much progress, or you're not going to perform as well, which is not going to lead to as much progress as if you would have made, as if you instead just went home, did a low rim session, and practiced your dunks, worked on your dunks. You would have had more intent, things like that, better practice, all that stuff.